Alright, so at the end of our last video, we'd finished the last few tweaks and we had plastic coming out our hot end. Still got a little bit coming out there actually. And the next thing we want to do is actually print something. And so what we're going to do the first time is go online and download something for us to print. So a good spot to find things like that is on thingiverse.com. So jump online, go to www.thingiverse.com, lowercase, and there's heaps of stuff here, so you can have some fun with this later, but for now we're looking for a specific model, something that prints quite well every time. Not everything here will actually print very well, because anyone can post stuff here. We're looking for the low poly Bulbasaur, and pick this one right here. There's a lot of similar ones. Make sure you get this one, same picture. Open him up, hit the download all files button, and it'll download in a compressed folder with the 3D files and also the JPEG pictures and everything as well. So what you want to do is go and so find the file in your downloads, and once again it comes compressed, so you'll have to get the files out first. So you can extract all right here, and then grab the files, and it's this STL file you want, and drag that into Ultimaker Cura, which we should have installed in the previous episode, and you'll see there's your little 3D guy. Now before we go and print it, we're going to have to set it up. You can see I've got all my printers here. We've got to set it up to know our printer. So we're going to add a printer, add a non-networked printer, and scroll down and make a custom FFF printer. And just change the name and call the printer something appropriate. There we go. And there's a couple of things we have to change in here, but not much. So this sets the size of the printer, and we actually do need to tweak that, but we can do that another time, because we can actually print a little bit more than 100 by 100 by 100. We don't need to change any of this. You have to press extruder and change the kind of plastic, because we're putting through plastic that is 1.75 millimeters thick. So that's what you need to change. And go next. And you see the print bed has changed, and we've got all these settings. Now first of all, change it to draft mode. That'll just print a little bit rougher and quicker. Much quicker is the important thing. There's a couple of settings we do want to change. The main one is the print layer speed. So you might not have the option. You can press this little gear, and these are all the extra options you can get it to show you. There are so many options, but just make sure initial layer speed is there, because we want the first layer to be printed really slow so it can be pressed into the paper even better. So set those both to 10, but then leave the print speed as it is. So just that initial layer is going to go at 10 millimeters per second, and that retraction distance, make it to 3. So you may not have retraction distance. You might have to go and turn that option on. And that's, don't worry about what that is for now actually. Let's just keep going. Now we've got the print bed adhesion. You can see it's set to a brim. And what a brim is, you see that all that extra plastic on the first layer? That's to help it stick to the bed. We probably won't need that, but we do want to do a skirt. And you can see that just draws a circle around the outside. And that just gives a chance for the plastic to get all the way out of the head. Because sometimes when you print something and you leave the printer, the last little bit of plastic will drip out. So when you start printing the next time, nothing comes out for the first 10 seconds. So we draw that circle first. Now, you can see inside, that's called Infill. I'm going to change it to 5%. And you can see now there's hardly anything inside. It's probably going to be too weak. You can set it to 50%. Super solid, like a solid block of plastic. Waste of plastic and takes too long to print. For this one, we can even do 0. And you can see there's absolutely nothing inside now. Now the great thing is it'll print really quick. But it won't be as strong, of course. So let's just set that to about 15 now. There you go. So that's about right. That'll be nice and solid without taking all data print. So save that to a file. And I'm just going to put it on the desktop with the default name. And that's going to save as a G-code file. So a whole file of little G-code moves. So open up Repeatia, go back to that main page, and I'm just going to drag my file in there. I'm going to find it first. It's on the desktop. There it is. So just drag it in there. Now make sure you're dragging the G-code file and not the original STL file, because that will show up in here, but then you won't have all your settings. And once you've dragged that in there, you can just go and press print. There's nothing else to do. So I'm just going to get rid of that bit of extra junk that we printed there before. And let's press start print. So the first thing will happen is it will start to heat up the hot end. So you won't really see it do anything to start off with. You can go into here and watch the heat go up. Once it's heated up, it'll do its homing moves, X, Y, and then Z. And then it's going to move up a little bit and then start printing. So it moves to about the middle first. Now you'll have to watch the first print because there's a few things that can go wrong if we haven't set it up perfectly. Let's see what happens. So it's trying to print that first layer, and it just pushed my paper out of the way a little bit. So there's no plastic going down yet. And you can see it's actually, if you look carefully, it's scratched the paper a little bit. So I'm actually scratching the paper. I'm way too close. And since we're in contact with the paper, it's not actually able to push any plastic out. You can see closer there. It's scratching the paper. We are too close. So what we're going to do is kill the print job. So go back into Repeatia, press kill print. It will have to finish a couple of moves first, and then just move it up a little bit. And what I'm going to do, I'm not going to play with all the screws in the bed. What we're going to do is grab that little screw at the back. A bit hard to see from here, I know. And just, because we're only barely scratching, maybe screw it in about half a turn. So if you screw that in further, that means the screw will hit the switch earlier, and so the nozzle won't be as close to the bed. And once we've done that, we can press print again and just give it a try. And let's see what happens. So once it's heated up, it'll do the homing moves again. And let's see how it goes with this first layer. So you can see at the start, there's no plastic coming out. So give it a moment though, because it could just be there's no plastic in the nozzle, so it has to prime a little bit first. That's why we're drawing this first outside layer. Now you can see it's starting to come out. It's not sticking very well though. You can see it's getting dragged a little bit. That's a little bit of a worry. But we'll keep an eye on it. So now it's finished the skirt. It's going to do those little feet. And we just want to watch this first layer to make sure everything sticks down properly. I'm a bit worried after seeing that skirt not sticking, but the foot looks good. Alright, it's looking fine for now. Let's fast forward and see what happens. And it's looking good until about here. And you can see the whole thing sort of let go of the bed and started sliding around. Now the reason for that would be that that first layer, although it did stick just barely, it wasn't stuck very well. So eventually we got unlucky, and when the nozzle slides across, it does pull it a little bit. So we pulled it around. And this is going to keep going like this. Now I'd gone to get a coffee at this point, so I hadn't noticed. And so let's see what happens if we let it finish the rest of the print this way. So we got some lovely spaghetti. Isn't that great? So we take that away, and the way to fix that is just to adjust that screw a little bit more before we tightened it, which lifted the nozzle slightly higher. And so I'm just going to loosen it, maybe a quarter turn. So this screw above the Z end stop, I'm just going to loosen it just slightly, and then we can print again and see what happens. And you can see already that first layer is looking much better this time. And that's it, our first successful print. I hope you guys managed to get here as well. You may not have had all the troubles I've had so far, but I'm sure you'll find some new exciting troubles in the future. So what I'd suggest is keep trying to print some different things. Have a look on Thingiverse, see if there's anything else you like, and see how you go. If you print something, definitely let me have a look on the Discord or show me in the next class. I'd love to see what you guys can come up with.